from Toronto, where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto, where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto, like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1852 of Toronto Mic'd, an award-winning podcast proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Order online at greatlakesbeer.com for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Visit palmapasta.com for more. Fusion Corp's own Nick Iones. He's the host of Building Toronto's Skyline and Building Success, two podcasts that you ought to listen to. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making his Toronto Mic'd debut, it's Gordie Johnson from Big Sugar.
Hello.
Hey, Gordie, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
Thanks for doing this.
My pleasure. I'm glad we could fit it in. Travel schedule's a bit zany.
And you can hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
Now, there's no way you don't have like a USB microphone lying around or anything like that, right?
Maybe.
Just want to capture the gold.
I don't.
Okay. No, it's okay. This will be fine. Just, you always ask that question just in case they're like, yes, I have this amazing USB mic right here.
Yeah, I have an amazing USB mic, a Sennheiser, and it's sitting on the desk in my studio where I usually do my Zoom calls.
Where do we find you today?
Where am I? Bonnyville, Alberta.
How's it going there?
It's going really good. We did a show at a high school last night. Beautiful little auditorium and nice crowd of people. It was fantastic.
Good to hear. Hey, off the hop here, I want to ask you about being a Gordie, okay? Because it seems like, as far as I'm concerned, there are so many Canadian legends that had and have the name Gord. Like, is there something uniquely Canadian about being a Gordie?
Well, there ain't many of us in the U.S., I'll tell you what. That's not a name you hear very often. And if, at a coffee shop, they'll ask for my name and I'll say Johnson. Because they're not trying to hear. See, where I am in Texas, Gordie means fat little girl in Spanish.
Oh, I had no idea.
Well, I had an idea. It's been explained to me a time or two.
Yeah, but in Texas, Johnson means Wang. Right?
No, Johnson's a really common name in, you're thinking of England.
Okay.
Yeah, no, in Texas, you had a president, Johnson. Johnson's a very common name. Johnson City is about 30 minutes from my house. So.
And the Blue Jays had a DH named Cliff Johnson, as I recall.
It's a very common name there. Gordie, not so much.
No, and I mean, I just, like minutes ago, I was chatting with Dave Bedini, and he's got the Real Statics have a new album, and there's a song with Gord Downey doing a spoken word about Lake Ontario. And I was just thinking, okay, we have Gordon Lightfoot, Gordon Pinsent, we have Gord Sinclair, Gord Downey, Gordie Johnson, Gordie Howe. Like, what's up with the great Canadian Gords?
I think it's a Scottish thing. A lot of Scottish folks in Canada, a lot of Scottish heritage there. I've got some in me. There's lots of it. I think Gordon Gordie, all my Scottish friends call me Gordie without any hesitation. Pronounce my name perfectly.
So you're touring with Big Sugar right now, right? You got any new music coming from Big Sugar and later in 2026?
We do. We have some new music. It's done, and it's been done for a minute, tell you the truth. A lot of these songs were written like before COVID. They were, remember that, COVID? Yeah, they were already written and kind of ready to go. But we've had a few detours along the way. We were kind of getting ready to put that record out. And then Jack White called and said he wanted to put out a record we did called 500 Pounds. We put it out in 1993. And he loved it when he was a teenager and wanted to put it out on vinyl. And we were like, yeah, man, sure. Okay. You want us to go on tour and promote an album from, yeah, sure, let's do that. So that's been almost 2 years of my life is just being on the Jack White train.
Well, let's talk about that train, Jack White. And I got to let the listenership know we're talking about the Jack White, not some guy with the same name. So I know you were playing the Commodore Ballroom with Jack White, right? Back in like recently.
Yeah, well, that was on my birthday.
Yeah.
They were playing in Vancouver and got a call from the tour manager saying, "Hey, Jack wants you to come to Vancouver. You guys want to play at the Commodore with us?" I'm like, yeah, sure. That sounds like a fine way to spend my birthday. So spent a couple of days in Vancouver, going to guitar stores and pawn shops and Italian bakeries with Jack White and his entire band.
Well, that's pretty
it's
pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, apparently Big Sugar was influential on a number of people. And yeah, Jack raised his hand and said, "Yeah, man, me and Meg went and saw you guys Pontiac in 1995 or something, 96. And I met him when he was a kid. Apparently I was nice to him." I'm like, what? Be nice to everybody. Just be nice to everybody. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, that makes sense because you're like Windsor, Detroit guy, and Jack White's a Detroit guy. So yeah, that adds up.
Yeah, and we had some radio play in Detroit on the rock stations in the early part of her career. So Ride Like Hell would have been played on the radio, and he heard it. Just like, oh wow, some guy playing slide guitar. That sounds like a good idea. So there you go. Fast forward. I mean, obviously the White Stripes have their whole own approach to it. I mean, it's not like he ever copied anything from Big Sugar, but just if I convince somebody that playing a guitar was a good idea, I think that counts.
No, you get points for that as far as I'm concerned. Here's a fun fact for you, Gordie, regarding Jack White and CanCon, okay? So Jack White's dad is cousins with Ashley McIsaac's dad. Do you know Ashley?
That makes sense because they're Cape Bretoners.
Yeah. So Ashley
Gillis.
McIsaac is related to Jack White.
Related to the Gillises.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correctamundo. And of course, Jack White, big sugar head. That's pretty rad, man.
Yeah, man.
Love it. Hey, do you mind if we go back a little bit? And then I got questions, and I appreciate you carving out some time to chat with me. And I'm glad you're doing this. But would you mind like bringing me back and like, I just mentioned Windsor and Detroit, but like when do you realize you, Gordie Johnson, you have the gift, you need to be creating music? When does that strike you?
I guess, you mentioned Windsor and Detroit, and that is a pretty fertile environment. If you think back, late 60s, 1970s, rock and roll took over the radio in Windsor and in Detroit. And we had three of the nation's top rock and roll radio stations at the time. WRIF was one of them. And man, you couldn't, my parents listened to the radio all the time, but as a kid, that was your thing. Like I got a little AM radio. I don't know, probably when I was 8. I had a little AM radio and I just listened to it all day and I'd hear, Bachman Turner, Overdrive, stuff like that on my little AM radio. It sounded great. So I just started, carrying a little radio around, riding my bike, listening to the radio. And as I got older, that was just part of the culture. You went to rock concerts, you went across the river and you went to Cobo Arena and you went and see rock and roll bands and went and saw Rush and went to see Queen and Jeff Beck and I don't know, just everybody, with Aerosmith, we went and saw every band that came to Detroit. We felt like Detroit was the center of the universe for rock and roll. So when you're a kid, that's a big influence on you.
Well, you mentioned Rush, so I'm just going to take this opportunity to ask you about your relationship with Alex Lifeson.
What a lovely cat he is. For no reason other than just to be a nice fella, I suppose. I'd encountered him a few times in the early 90s. And I was just like scuffling old jazz musician on Queen Street. Didn't have anything going on. I was just dude with a big guitar and a, shiny hairstyle. I encountered Al at a couple of, charity events or whatever. One day, we'd gone to a recording studio. We were making the Hemivision record, the tour that we're on right now promoting Hemivision.
Right.
That record came out in 96. But when we were making the record, we weren't all big and famous. Nobody knew who Big Sugar was. Nobody really cared. But I ran into Al at a recording studio. We were borrowing gear. Of course, we couldn't afford to rent gear. We had to borrow some. So we borrowed a piece of equipment from a studio. Rush was in that studio recording. And he recognized me in the hallway and said, "Hey, man, come on in. And I'll show you around. There's Geddy over there. Oh, there's Neil practicing his drums and far out." And I was a huge Rush fan. Man, I was a Rush fan from when I was a little kid. My first rock show was in Rush at Cobo at 77, man. I saw Rush. It blew my mind. That was probably the moment that I went, ding, I'm doing that. So now here's the guitar player of Rush showing me his guitars. And I saw the white double neck that he played on Farewell to Kings on Xanadu. It's like the Xanadu guitar. Whoa, yeah, man. Whoa, look at that. He's like, "Yeah, I pick it up." I'm like, "Oh my God, it's heavy." So, "Man, I saw you play that when I was a little kid in Detroit." And he said, "Yeah, it's really heavy and it's kind of having a negative effect on my golf game, to be honest.
Right.
So why don't you take it and see if it brings you good luck?"
Wow.
I felt my luck improve that very moment.
Gordie, that story is unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy? I'm not the only cat he's done this to, apparently. So I took that guitar and we just put it in the studio and we all stood around it like praying in front of it, warming our hands in front of it. Like,
Yeah.
What do we do with it? What do you do with a double neck guitar? What do you even do with it? I'm not sure. I guess we should record it. So we ended up re-recording a bunch of songs we'd already finished because it just sounded so deadly. And then that went on to be like my signature instrument. It started showing up in videos and it's on that whole record. And then I had to buy another one, and I had to buy another one, and I had to buy another one. And eventually I gave his back to him and it ended up in a museum in Ottawa. But yeah, that's a major turning point in the sound of Big Sugar, all because of one guy just being a lovely cat.
Yeah, we call that being a mensch.
Yeah, and a mentor.
Right.
I mean, he's such a humble guy and doesn't, have any ego to speak of, and somebody who clearly could have. I mean, I've been to his house. I've seen the platinum records. He's got a 2-story wall of platinum records. And I was like, it was just an entire giant wall of a house. And I was marveling at them. And he was like, "Oh, those are just the ones from Latin America."
Hey, so this Gibson, right? This double neck guitar that Alex just gives you, like he doesn't make you didn't buy it. He didn't make you sign something. He's like, "Here,
No.
He gave it to you. That you can see it in the video for Digging a Hole, right?
Yeah. It's the same white double neck that's on Farewell to Kings is on Digging a Hole. Yeah.
Which is a Canadian fun fact. Go ahead.
Canadian fun fact.
Yeah. And if I may, when I think of Gordie Johnson, my first thought is you holding a double neck guitar.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd never even considered having one until that moment. And then that just, set me down a path of that's now my thing.
Yeah. Well, I can picture you playing like "Oh Canada" on a double neck guitar before like a hockey game.
You know why you play "Oh Canada" on a double neck?
What?
Because if you break a string during "Oh Canada," it's handy to have another guitar like right there.
That's
you don't need two guitars to play it, but you're really glad if you've ever broken a string or it's gone out of tune because you're standing on the ice at a hockey game. Nobody wants to play guitar on ice, trust me.
I think we should get a one of those heritage minutes made about Alex gifting you that double neck guitar.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, who would play me? That'd be cool. I'd love to see that.
Hey, so I already said the words "digging a hole." Before I bug you about that song, which I'm gonna guess as just a consumer of great music that song changes everything for Big Sugar. I'm gonna say, but could we talk a bit about somebody who I was blessed to have visit me in my basement studio for a sit down? Can we talk about Molly Johnson?
Oh. Yeah, I wish you would.
Like, can you share with us, the listeners? We all know Molly on Toronto Mic'd, okay? She's a big part of the TMU, the Toronto Mic'd universe. But what role does Molly Johnson play in the trajectory of Big Sugar?
She plays a pretty massive role. That woman saved me from the street more than once. I had no place to live at a point. I was sleeping in a car, and then I would sort of move to a different car. It's like you can't sleep in a car. You have to sleep in a house. You're staying at my house. We were roommates for a while at the Cameron House on Queen Street. We shared an apartment there, and then eventually she got herself a place, but she really just sort of grandfathered me into all this stuff in Toronto. Because again, I was just like young guy hustling, playing the blues, playing some jazz, playing some rockabilly, which is out there on the street with my guitar, trying to make ends meet. Toronto tough,
Yeah.
And we got a call one day from Molly saying if she wanted Big Sugar to be her backing band, she had a gig, and would we learn some songs and back her up? And we're like, sure. You're like sort of famous jazz singer. We're more of a blues band, but yeah, that would be cool. That sounds interesting. We got to her apartment and we're sitting around learning songs. Well, what's the gig exactly, Molly? Like, what should we wear? She's like, oh, we're opening for Ray Charles at Ontario Place on Sunday. Like, this Sunday.
Wow.
So that was our first show. We got to meet Ray Charles and play with Ray Charles at Ontario Place in front of 20,000 people Sunday afternoon. Yeah, so that's a pretty big opportunity. Thanks, Molly. And after that, we were her band. We just did everything thick as thieves. She was like a big sister to me, and she did a thing. She wouldn't come on stage at the beginning of the show. We would have to play a little bit of instrumental jazz or something. We'd play a song, get the crowd just kind of, everyone in their seat, quiet and ready for Molly to come out. We'd introduce and play her walking music. She'd walk on. And then she stopped coming out. We'd be playing a song and she'd say, Gordon, I'm not coming out until you sing a song. It's like, yeah, I'm not really I don't, no, you need to sing a song. When? Like, yes, tonight. So I'd have to sing a song before she'd come out. Okay. And the crowd kind of liked that. And then she started insisting I sang for the second set, 2 songs. And then she'd make me sing songs with her, do little duets and stuff. So really pushed me into being a singer, purely out of her own laziness, I'm sure. It meant less singing for her. The only thing Molly Johnson likes more than some singing is Molly Johnson not singing. But she pushed me towards singing, and I got to thank her for that.
All right, so
And
yeah, go on.
yeah, man, Molly. And look, I gotta also point out, we were not looking for a record deal. We were not trying to be a rock and roll band with our own record. Weren't in that game. We weren't thinking about that. And Molly got a record deal as for her jazz thing. So we were going to make this record with Molly. And at the last minute, somebody offered her a way bigger record deal for her rock and roll band.
Infidels.
The Infidels. So she said to Tom Tremuth over at Hypnotic Records, "Oh, it's okay. I'll sing a song on their record, but Gordie has all these original songs he's written. They're great. You're gonna love it." And Tom went, "Yeah, oh, okay. I've never heard this guy sing, but okay." It's just, for whatever reason, she talked him into letting us make a record. And then announced to me that, okay, you got to go back to the Cameron House and write a bunch of songs because you're going to make a record. I wasn't trying to write a bunch of songs. I wasn't thinking about that either. So I wrote a bunch of songs and went to Hypnotic Records and made our first record. And that's because of Molly.
I need to recap this really quickly, Greg. So Molly Johnson does several things, but 3 big things she does is, one is she gives you like a shelter. Okay, I feel like I'm Mick Jagger over here. Give me shelter. Okay, so Molly gives you shelter. That's one thing. Secondly, you guys become a supporting band for her jazz performances. Okay, that's the second thing. And the third thing is, as she's kind of returning to rock music with Infidels, she helps you secure a record deal from Hypnotic Records back in 1991.
Yeah, she hands off a record deal.
That's okay. So I'm glad we're talking Molly, because you can't tell the Big Sugar story without Molly. And of course, I'm aware of the fact that we talked about your name Johnson. Molly's also a Johnson.
And we had a guy playing saxophone with us, and that was Johnny Johnson.
Johnny Johnson. That's like being named Brad Bradford. Okay, Johnny Johnson. So we are getting to digging a hole, but I wanted the Molly Johnson story, and I also am hoping, can you share with us, just, I'm kind of talking about people who've been in the basement. Gordie, one day you got to visit the basement and do this proper so I can give you beer and pasta and we can have a real chat about all this.
Oh, all right.
One day. That's a deal. One guy who came over, what an epic chat that was Bare Naked Ladies drummer Tyler Stewart.
Oh, dear.
I need to know how your paths crossed with Tyler, before digging a hole.
Well, just, back, I talked about them scuffling days on Queen Street. We were all just young guys looking for gigs, playing at every bar in Toronto, from Clinton's and the Rivoli and the Horseshoe and Cameron House and all those Bamboo, all those great gigs that we had back in those days. And Tyler was just one of those guys running around with his band, Bare Naked Ladies. They were sort of busking on Queen Street and playing the occasional gig. They weren't big and famous or anything yet. So we just all knew each other from being around. But after the Bare Naked Ladies exploded and all this, they'd sold 1 million records and they were all big and famous. And it was great. But we're all just, but once you get back on Queen Street, we're all just the same dudes,
Right.
We used to sort of put on these parties. We put together a band. It was sort of a jam band, for lack of a better description of it, but it was kind of like, it predates raves, so you couldn't call it a rave, but it was kind of a rave because it was all just dance music that we were playing. It wasn't DJs and electronica, but people would get up and rap with us and we would play. Just a 3-piece core band with Tyler on drums. but then we would just have this rotating cast of crazy people get up and rap or sing or play or do something. We had a guy get up with a juicer and a bunch of carrots and beets, and they put a microphone on it. Instead of doing like DJ scratching, he would use the juicer to, you know, so, and we would play sometimes till 4:30 in the morning. We'd start after another gig. We would all show up at a warehouse somewhere and played at these parties that went till someone kicked us out, cops shut it down, or it just dissipated, you know, at a point. But yeah, you had the most unlikely cast of people up on that stage with me and Tyler in the background, me playing the bass and Tyler playing the drum.
Does this outfit have a name?
Don't Talk Dance. Don't Talk Dance was the name of the party. Right. And then at some point we decided, hey, we should record this. So there is a recording out there somewhere of Don't Talk Dance. I don't know if it's on any streaming, but I've seen it on YouTube, I think, and it's there are CDs floating around. Don't Talk Dance.
Well, here, let me blow your mind again. So I just mentioned I was chatting with Bedini earlier today, and Dave Bedini was talking about Alex Lifeson. He's on the new Rio Statics album, and also just days ago there was a Wolf Island hockey game, which has been going on for like 22 years in a row now. And of course, the host for this, you can imagine, the host for this is Chris Brown, Bourbon Tabernacle Choir.
And another Don't Talk Dance.
Right.
Alumni.
There you go. So Tyler Stewart, and Chris Brown, and Gordie Johnson. Also, one last point on this, and then we're getting back to Big Sugar. And I promise I won't take 6 hours of your life here, just 5, okay? That's all I need, 5 hours here.
I got it.
Just kidding. But when Bare Naked Ladies win that contest at CFNY and they get the $100,000 to make a new album, what do they name that album? Gordon. Like it comes
full circle. I see what you did there.
Yeah, like it all comes back to Great Canadian Gourds, right? They named that album Gordon. Anyway,
I saw what you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pausing for applause. I'm pausing for applause. Okay. All right. So there's some great chatter about future FOTM Alex Lifeson, and we talked about Tyler Stewart, Chris Brown, and Molly Johnson.
Alex is on a Big Sugar album, actually. On the last studio record we did called Eternity Now, Al's on the title track. We were, in separate countries at the time, but
right.
All I had to do was say, hey, man, we wrote this song, and it sounds an awful lot like a Rush song. Maybe, I'm either going to get sued or you're going to have to play on it.
Well, right. Now, you play on it or we're copying you. But, I now need to ask you, how many Juno Awards has Big Sugar won in your career?
You see that?
Oh, I took my eye off the prize here. It's a big goose egg, right?
Yeah, it's a big goose egg.
But you have 5 nominations.
We don't have any trophies. Whatever. I got a couple Grammy nominations, but you can't put Grammy nominations on your fireplace mantle.
They don't send you a trophy for being nominated. You got to win this thing.
No, they don't. Yeah, I mean, you get a letter in the mail, but
See, I think
not.
You can frame that letter.
Trophies aren't kind of why I do it.
No, I know. I guess this is a long-winded route to tell you that I believe at the Junos that are taking place in March 2026. We're talking in February. They're in Hamilton, and I believe Alex Lifeson will be a surprise performer alongside Geddy Lee and the new drummer for Rush.
Oh, that's what you think?
Yep. And I'm telling lots of people this, and if it happens, I'm going to take full credit for breaking it. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to say I'm going to just say it was a fever dream.
You got faulty intel.
Right. Don't quote me on it, but I expect to see, and I wish I could remember her name now that I'm talking to you, but I know she's from Scandinavia. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Annika. Right.
she's true.
Right. So I believe that new iteration there of Rush. I don't like to call it Rush. I don't know what they're calling it. I think they're promoting it as Rush. I suppose they just have a new drummer in honor.
It's up to them.
Yeah, of course.
They can call it. Why wouldn't they call it Rush?
Well, I don't know.
Oh my God! Don't make me come over there. It's freaking Rush because Geddy Lee says so. That's all. That is all you need to know. Why shouldn't they call it? What the heck?
I have no problem with them it's their band. They can call it Rush. I'm sure
Because their second drummer isn't here anymore. Come on, man.
that's true. He's not. You're right. He's not the original drummer. You're right.
And they're not trying to get a substitute for him. I love the fact that they just went completely off menu and thought, oh, look at her. She's good. She played with Jeff Beck. She must be good. Oh my God, she is really good. She doesn't sound anything like Neil Peart. Why would she? Why would you try? You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
That's exactly the right road to go. Is find someone who's not Neil, get someone who's just going to bring something new and great to it. Challenge those guys. They're such amazing musicians. How do you go from playing with Neil to just playing with anybody? You know what I mean? Like, how do you feel challenged every day if you're Geddy or Al? I think it's fantastic. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, you don't need to come over here and beat the shit out of me because I'm on your side. I agree. I just want to make sure you're not booking that flight from Alberta because
one minute you're offering to make me spaghetti, and now I'm going to whoop your
lasagna. It's all yours when you come by. That's for sure. So I keep. There's one more chap I want to talk about before I just bug you a little about some songs and some other fun facts, but. I'm so sorry for your loss. I remember talking to Molly about this when the terrible news was broken that Garry Lowe had passed away. But would you mind maybe spending a minute or two talking about what Garry brought to Big Sugar in that loss?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was, Garry made Big Sugar the quintessential Toronto band, to my mind. I'm just pat myself on the back here a little bit. But, we had a membership in the band over the years of people from all these different cultural sectors that we brought together. Not that never happened. I mean, you always, coming up in Toronto, in the 80s, you played with musicians from all different corners of the universe. I was played Nigerian guys, played with dudes from Trinidad, blues musicians from Chicago and Detroit come up. There's this amazing crossroads of culture. And having Garry actually join the band solidified for me and gave legitimacy to the fact that Jamaican culture was an enormous influence on me personally and on our music. And what was commonplace in Toronto, I wanted to bring that to the rest of the world. I wanted to show everybody that, hey, yeah, it's rock and roll is not just rock and roll. It can have all these other things in it, which got us in some trouble too. It wasn't always accepted. You got guys with dreadlocks and Jamaican accents in your band, but you're playing rock and roll. You're not a reggae band. He goes, yeah, no, that's not the thing. We're not calling it either of those things, but we do all of it just kind of at the same time. And Garry really, the fact that there was that mutual respect there, because I idolized the guy. I used to see him play from my first reggae show in Toronto. He's the only bass player I ever saw for like almost a decade in Toronto. He's like the only bass player we got. I know we got other ones, but always Garry. So that was just like an unattainable thing. I was like, well, what if I just ask him? You know what I mean? I had to get my nerve up to ask him. I called him and told him what I was thinking of doing and asked him if he'd come over to the house, and I was going to audition him, for the gig. He showed up with his bass and a suit bag full of clothes, show clothes. He was ready to do the audition and get on the bus. And go. I was like, no, we're not leaving today. Dude, we're not leaving today. Talk about confidence. The guy showed up with his bags packed. Like, okay, there's somebody who wants the gig. Yeah, no, man, we had an amazing run together, just making great music.
Great loss for the Toronto music scene.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's look what we won. Look at all this. Look at all the influence there, and just look how reggae music is still. You still hear it on the streets of Toronto, and West Indian culture. Toronto. That's Toronto culture. I think in the '80s it was considered like a foreign kind of a thing. You know what I mean? And I don't think it is so much now. And I don't live in Toronto now, but I get the feeling that by this time, everyone's had a patty, right? Everyone knows what a ting is. Everyone drinks a red stripe. People just drop. I've noticed in Toronto, like people just drop patois like it nothing. You know what I mean? Like I hear kids, teenagers, you go to the Eaton Center for 15 minutes. It was like all these kids speaking patois. Well, they don't all have Jamaican parents, West Indian parents,
No.
So it's just become part of a Toronto speak. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Well, just
I love it.
ask Snow about that, right? He went to #1 for 7 weeks.
Yeah, but see, back in that time, that sort of stood out as odd because I knew a lot of people in the reggae music community and the West Indian community, and those were the neighborhoods I lived in. So I heard that kind of. I knew lots of I knew lots of white guys. I knew white Jamaican guys, Chinese Jamaican guys, and that speaking patois thing was just kind of like it was just sort of our little thing. If you can do it a little bit, you understand it. Yeah, sure. It's like being in a gang in a way, you know.
Yeah.
But no, it's become way more mainstream now. It's not that it doesn't stick out as being that weird anymore. Toronto man, Toronto Mike. You know what I mean?
No, dude, I totally know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. I just had a Jamaican Canadian reggae artist named Amoy was over here the other day. She's actually up for her 8th Juno, and she's never won. So I told her she's the Susan Lucci of the Juno Awards. So that beats the Big Sugar drought there, if you ask me. So Gordie, I know how I want to close. I want to close by asking you about a few songs that really kind of affected me and the rest of the world, really. But can I ask you just a couple of interesting concerts I want to ask you about? One is Woodstock '99. You were there.
Yeah, I was. We got the hell out of there. Tell you what, we finished our show. I don't know, I want to say 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And we had only seen the bus and the venue. Like we just gone from the bus to the stage and played. And it was fantastic. Like the crowd was amazing. It was still fun at that point. But it was the last day. I think it was on the Sunday. We were on the last day. And as soon as we left like the stage area, we're like, oh, George Clinton is playing over there. Let's go over there, way over there, that stage way over there. We started to walk through the grounds, man, and it was post-apocalyptic. It was horrible. We were getting dirty. I got a white Hugo Boss pants on, and like there's stuff getting on me. I was like, oh hell no, I am not walking. These blue suede shoes are not walking through this. So we turned around and we're like, what do you mean there's no water? Yeah, there's no water. How is there no water? It's 102 degrees out here. There were just people laying like they look like dead bodies everywhere. I hope these people aren't dead. Is anyone helping them? No. No one's helping. Like, I mean, I like me some Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I think we gotta go. We're gonna let's beat the traffic, Mom. Let's get in the car and go. So we loaded up the bus and we got out of there.
You got the fuck out of Dodge.
We did. And then we heard by the time we got back to Toronto, we were hearing all the reports of what was going on. Oh my God, man. We just dodged a bullet there.
Well, that and I've only seen the docs. I wasn't there, okay? Even though I did talk to Kim Clark Champness about this because he was there with Serial Joe. You remember Serial Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were there. But, you know, from the docs and everything. So I'm a big fan of Mother's Milk. That was the Chili Peppers album before the big Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic one. I love that album still, but they do a cover of Jimi Hendrix's Fire on that album. So this is like part of their catalog is doing Fire. But I guess at that moment, they go into Fire, and I guess the audience is just ready to give me an excuse to go. And I guess they're like, Fire? Okay. And then you get the closers, I guess, Limp Bizkit, who have the big hit Break Stuff. And it's like, did you say Break Stuff? Okay. Like, just go.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It was, yeah. Well, of course, they'll find a way to blame it on the bands, but it's, it's not the fault of the musicians. That's the whole thing.
And you were smart to get the fuck out of Dodge. But earlier so that's in like July 99, that Woodstock 99 that you're predicting. But earlier, what was it like as it was known then, Air Canada Centre? What was it like opening for the Rolling Stones?
Oh, it was lovely. It was lovely. That, it taught us a big lesson. To be fair, I knew them before, and I was friends with Charlie Watt. So we got the gig sort of, there were agents involved and stuff too, but the original call comes from Charlie liked Big Sugar. He liked 500 Pounds. He liked Ride Like Hell. I'd hung out with him a lot. I'd met Keith on several occasions, but I hung out with Charlie a lot. So we were kind of coming into it already as homies, so that's nice. The largest, biggest, most influential band in the world considers you homies. That's great. But we were quite shocked. They were like, well, Mick doesn't like carpet on the stage. Do you want carpet? We have all these Persian rugs. If you'd prefer, we'll put them down. We're like, no, don't go to any trouble. They're like, no, mate, it's your show. We want you to have a great show. Do you want the rugs? We're like, no, actually, we prefer not to have the rugs. Okay. All right, here's catering over here. There's a selection of nice wine. There's all this food. And this is for everybody. It's for you blokes too. So get in there and enjoy it. Just don't eat don't anyone break the crust on the shepherd's pie. If someone's been taken already, it means you can have some. If it hasn't been touched, don't touch it. You don't get to be the first one to have Keith's shepherd's pie. You go, okay, let's not do that then. But they said, okay, here's the guy who does the video screens. He's the director. So you're going to have a talk with him next. I'm like, to do what? Oh, he's going to direct the videos for you while you're playing. I was like, we get the video screen? He goes, yeah, you get all of it, mate.
Wow.
Do we have to, are they going to make us not play as loud? They're like, no, play as loud as you want. It's the Rolling Stones. What are you going to do? Like, okay. They showed us the absolute, they treated us like the headliner. And I guess from what I've heard, that's how they treat their opening acts. They treat you like a headliner because if everyone has a better show, it's a better show. The audience has a better show. So we've never treated an opening act like a bunch of schmucks. You know what I mean? Okay. I found out this young band, they put them in a men's room as a dressing room. We were playing somewhere in Lethbridge, Alberta, this years ago. These young guys, they were a good rock and roll band. They were good. Put on a good show. They didn't even have any beer. It's like, what do you mean they don't have any beer? Wait, let them turn on all the lights. Who told you guys not to turn the lights on for them? Use all the lights. The Rolling Stones said we could have all the lights. Who are we? Turn on all the freaking lights.
Did you say turn the lights on? Is that what you just said?
That's what I said.
I have had my share of fights and some lonely, lonely nights. You right. Wanna reach a higher high. The sun is sinking like a stone, and it hurts to be alone.
Turn the lights on, mama, let it shine on, mama, turn the lights on. Yeah.
Turn the lights on. Turn it on now, baby. I want to see you right now. I want to see you real good. Real. Why? You just a blow my mind, you know?
Wake me up when you get home. Wake me up when you get home. And turn the lights on, baby, before you lie down, baby, turn the lights on. Turn the lights on, baby, before you lie down, baby, turn the lights on. Turn the lights on, baby, before you lie down, baby, turn the lights on. Let it shine on, mama, let it shine on, let it shine on.
Lads, what kind of beer do you like? Corona? Get them 24 Coronas. That was Nickelback. Be nice to people. Just be nice to people. It's not hard. I hate mean rock stars.
No, I love this story because you describe how, although I hope you didn't fuck with that shepherd's pie. Like you knew to respect the shepherd's pie.
No.
That's very rock and roll. I love that story. But I heard similar stories about, I have a bunch of bands over who opened for the Tragically Hip at some point. And to a T, they all talk about how the Tragically Hip treated them the way you're describing, how you would treat your opening band, Nickelback, or the Stones would treat you.
Yeah, it's really important. Everyone has a better show. The crowd has a better show if they'll give them the light show. Unless you're scared. Unless you're that scared,
right.
The big headliner,
right?
Big boy, if you're that scared that the other band's going to play too loud and have too many lights, come on.
Then be better.
Nah, be a better person.
Be better. Hey, I just, speaking of great shows, this past December, I saw the Trews at the Danforth Music Hall. And I saw them because I wanted to see them for their Christmas show. It was fantastic, but because the brothers were just in the basement, speaking of Cape Breton, and I gotta just ask you how you got involved with the Trews, and then just let the listenership know that you're a co-writer on the huge Trews jam, Not Ready to Go.
I am, and also the song I'm most proud of with the Trews is being a co-writer on Highway of Heroes. That to me is definitely one of the songwriting highlights of my career and one of the songs I'm most proud of. And I don't know how you top that one. To be involved with that one was I don't know. I think it changed me as a songwriter. Like you got to tap into something really deep. If you're brave enough to go there, you can really move people with a song. So that's the one I'm most proud of. Yeah, Not Ready to Go is great. I co-wrote so many of the songs with those guys on the records we worked on together, and even some records I didn't produce or work on. We still wrote a ton of great songs, and I've done some of the songs I've written with them with Big Sugar, and that was at a time it was a very, very fruitful songwriting, creative relationship that we had going.
And you're right. Highway of Heroes is gorgeous. And when they played it live, it was just a magical moment. But Not Ready to Go, I brought that up because I believe that might have been the most played song on rock radio that year in this country.
Yeah. Oh, I think I have a trophy for that. Somebody give me a trophy. The Trews give me trophies.
I bet you that's from SoCan. You think so? I bet you you've had a few SoCan awards over the years.
I got some SoCan hardware. Sure.
Okay, quick hits here, my friend, because earlier you said the magic words Hugo Boss. Okay, and you, my friend, You're like one of those. What did ZZ Top say? Oh, sorry, ZZ Top. That's how I'm calling him now. You're a sharp dressed man.
Even in my pajamas. Um,
Are they Hugo Boss pajamas?
Lagerfeld.
Uh-oh.
You went there. You went there, Mr. Hoodie. I went.
Hey, I have style. I'm rocking the GLB hoodie here.
And you're in your basement, so you're allowed to wear whatever you
I'm not wearing pants either, but that's between me.
Of course
and,
you're not. It's a Zoom call. We all know no one's wearing pants on a Zoom call.
Keep the camera above the table. That's what I say.
What were we talking about?
Well, I guess I'm curious about just maybe in a nutshell, like how do you end up working with Hugo Boss? Like Hugo Boss dresses you for a very long time.
I think just by sheer contrast. Remember the Molly Johnson thing? We were coming from the world of jazz and sharp suits and ties, and our shoes were shined, and my hair was slicked back. And I went to a Much Music Video Awards night. And this was the year grunge took over. And everybody was trying to look grungy. Everyone had holes in their jeans, and they looked like, let's be frank, everyone looked like shit. Everybody looked like you just got out of bed. Did you sleep in a bus shelter? Come on. What is this? You wore this to the party? So Big Sugar walking around not fitting in. And a young fella at the time just started working with Hugo Boss, a fellow by the name of Robert Souza, who's still a great friend to this day. But he was a young guy at the company, and he was at the party, and he walked right up to me at the party, not introduced, walked right up and said, "Who are you? What do you do? You're not a musician?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a musician." "Well, what band is your band?" "It's Big Sugar." "Because why are you dressed like this?" And I looked at him and was like, "Oh, it's the only other guy wearing a sharp suit." And I looked around. I said, "Because all these fools are dressed like this. Is that dressed?" And he was like, he pulled my jacket lapel open to read the label and see whose clothes I was wearing, and said, "I'm Robert Souza with Hugo Boss. Come and see me Monday morning at my office." So I went, and he walked me into the president's office and said, "Now, I've just met this guy at Much Music Video Awards, and I'm telling you, this is our guy." And so I became their guy, and they gave us a bunch of clothes to wear for the Ride Like Hell video. It was the first thing they did. And I didn't realize at the time that Robert, although he rose in the ranks and became like a highly influential cat, he had just come from the warehouse, hanging stuff on hangers in the warehouse. They just moved him into Hazelton Lane in Yorkville. He just got that job. It was like his first day not wearing, coveralls in the warehouse. He was wearing a shirt with a tie. It was like his first thing. And he walked to me and was like, "Look at me. I'm already finding. I'm on the street. I got my finger on the pulse." He'd never heard our music. He had no idea if we were any good. And that started an amazing, 10-year relationship with Hugo Boss.
See, there you go. Evidence that grunge was a good thing for Big Sugar.
Turns out to have been, yes, by contrast.
And I mean, this is how I know how I want to end. And then if there's anything you wanted to share, of course, I'll record anything you have to say, Gordie. But you mentioned Much Music Video Awards. I mean, I consumed a lot of Big Sugar on Much Music, but one of the faces I would see on Much Music belonged to Dan Gallagher.
Oh yeah, man. My best pal in Toronto, man. We used to run around together a lot. We were great friends, and he had a big influence on Big Sugar. He put up the money. Speaking of the Ride Like Hell video, the video for Ride Like Hell was paid for by my friend Dan. He came up with enough money for us to make the video because no one else was going to pay for us to have a video. And the video for Ride Like Hell is something that definitely got Big Sugar known nationally, if not internationally. So just because he had a really good gig, he was a radio and TV personality. He was, hosting award shows and doing stuff. So he had a really good job. And so, yeah, he paid for the video. Yeah, no problem. And he gave us, lyrics for Digging a Hole and Better Get Used to It. And some of our biggest songs.
Those are huge songs.
Ideas he had. You know what you guys should do? You should record the song Dear Mr. Fantasy. Yeah, you should record. That would be a great song to cover. So he paid for the recording session and we recorded Dear Mr. Fantasy.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
Dan Gallagher, who, well, I once met him actually, and I was so excited. Oh, there's the guy from Test Pattern. Like, this is awesome. And I know he did a lot of work with the Argos as well. And he's dearly missed. He's gone far too soon. It's been over 25 years now, I think, about 25 years since we lost Dan Gallagher.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Digging a Hole. So I know I want to close with Digging a Hole because, yes, you covered Dear Mr. Fantasy, and that got you some exposure. But for most of us in this country, our first taste of what Big Sugar has to offer is Digging a Hole. I think one mind blow right now is there's a co-writing credit for Dan Gallagher from Much Music. I think that's a mind blow too. But there's another chap who I've had the luxury of talking to, Andy Curran.
Yeah, Andy and Dan. Andy helped Dan with the idea of Digging a Hole. They had just It's really funny. I still have a cassette tape somewhere, and it's one chord and Dan saying one line. Like, so is this, can I hear the whole song do you guys have? No, that's all we got. That's all you got. But the thing is, it was a great first idea. It kind of just wrote itself. It didn't need another verse. It just verse and one chorus and two chords, and that is all. So that's all it needed.
So you're on tour now, basically. This is the 30th anniversary of Hemivision, and the first single off Hemivision, of course, is Digging a Hole, which you know as well as I do is still one of the most played Canadian rock songs on Canadian radio. Like, it's still ever present on rock radio in this country. It's a big radio jam. But like, maybe give me a taste of like, how do things change for Big Sugar when Digging a Hole drops and radio picks it up, and Much Music as well?
Oh, it changes pretty drastically. Yeah, we got really busy. We spent pretty much from 96 to 2000 doing like 300 shows a year. We just lived on the road. We didn't do anything else but be Big Sugar for those years. Really, yeah, they're kind of lost years in a way. That produced some really killer records, Heated and Brothers and Sisters. Yeah, fantastic period of time to be in Big Sugar. But yeah, Digging a Hole is the one that just catapults the thing. Like, then suddenly we were touring from coast to coast.
You mentioned Heated. Is it true the U.S. release of Heated also has Digging a Hole on it?
Yeah, it's a song that wouldn't go away because Hemivision didn't get released, but Heated did get released in the U.S. They're like, but can we put that song on it too? So yeah, no, that's one of those songs that just keeps coming back around.
Well, if you're going to do that, Gordie, why not stick If I Had My Way on the American release of Heated?
Because Heated has its own really awesome songs. It doesn't.
No,
really
you're right, man. I mean, Better Get Used to It is on there, and one of my personal favorite, Turn the Lights On, which I teased earlier. But yeah, I gotta say, when you dive into the Big Sugar catalog, man, just rocks. And I just want to say, big fan here, and I love the fact you carved out some time for some independent podcaster in South Etobicoke. That's pretty awesome of you, man.
Toronto, Mike, I will make some time, and one of these trips, I do get to Toronto quite often, and I will come to the basement and we'll eat the lasagna, and we can taunt each other in person.
And you won't beat me up for even daring suggest me, is it Rush? Even asking the question, is that Rush? It's Rush if Alex and Getty say it's Rush.
I'll hold the grudge, though, just so you know.
Give up the grudge. Thanks, buddy. This was great.
All right, Mike. It's great talking to you, man.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,852nd show. Go to Toronto Mike for all your Toronto Mike needs. Pick up a ticket to see me at the Elma Combo on May 21st. There's a link at the top of torontomike.com. It reads Elmo Gig. Much love to all who made this possible. Again, that is Great Lakes Brewery, Palma Pasta, Nick Ienes, RecycleMyElectronics.ca, and Ridley Funeral Home. See you all Tuesday when my guest in the TMDS basement studio is Liz Worth.